Perfect. So as I said to the people that are in the room, that I am sending out this recording because I was supposed to live stream. I have such bad internet, so I'm not going to mess with that. So I just want to make a good recording instead, so I can send it out so everybody can take the benefit. And this is not a recording that I am going to remove. I'm going to upload it on YouTube, and you can watch it anytime. I'm also going to upload it inside of the Facebook community because I was supposed to stream there. So I'm going to upload it for you who comes from the bundle that I am in this week. So I'm inside of a promotion bundle, and you're going to also get this recording inside of that bundle, just so you know that. And I want to welcome you here. So this is going to be about lead generation, a topic that I love to talk about, a topic that a lot of people struggle with. Either they struggle with generating leads overall, or the quality of them. And especially if you run, like we do, virtual event, because if you get the lower qualified leads, they're going to join and they're going to say, oh my God, this was so valuable, I love this content, but they don't move any further. Or you get the nobody showing up. And that is even kind of worse, right? And when we kind of have a pipeline, we call it a pipeline when we have a flood of leads coming in, when that is either inconsistent or that might be slow, or full of people that actually don't take any action. It's not that you are bad at what you do. We're going to talk about strategies and things like that, but it's not about that you are bad at what you do. It's not that your entire selling system might be broken. It's because that most business owners don't, and most business owners, I'm just going to say, don't have a visibility problem. Can we have low visibility? Absolutely, right? But that has nothing to do with the quality of the leads. You can have the greatest visibility and get no leads, and vice versa. But what they do have is a qualification problem. And this usually shows up that we post everywhere, we are online, we are visible, we are doing all the things that people say that we're going to do. We share value, we are posting a lot of content, but the right people are not recognizing themselves in the message. And that is what we're going to fix here today. And we're going to take more than that step, but that is the front end when it comes to generating leads. So in this training, we are going to talk about why most lead generation advice, I would say, attracts browsers instead of buyers. We're also going to talk a little bit about mindset, and that might you think, okay, what has that to do with lead generation? We're going to come back to that. And if you have visited one of my previous training, you know that that is something that I talk about a lot, because it's a huge thing why people are not generating leads at all. Okay, or they say, oh, it's impossible, or it's kind of hard. And we're also going to talk about how you can build the pipeline that actually converts. And for you who don't know me, so my name is Angela. I'm a virtual event sales expert. So what I do is that I help our clients attract and turn leads from cold to sold with virtual events. But we don't only use the virtual events to sell. It's a sales mechanism, and it's an entire sales system. But we also use the virtual events to attract the right kind of people, grow our audience, build our list, and claiming our category online. So what we're going to talk about today is the building your list part of that. So we're not going to talk about the virtual event in itself. We're going to talk about how that is absolutely your best freebie that you can ever have, that is going to generate qualified leads a lot for you. But we are going to talk about the part where you going to attract the right kind of people in. And it can be a freebie, it can be a virtual event that we do, or it can be something else that you use to attract leads where they register. So you move them from social media into your list. And that is important because you don't own social media. You borrow the traffic from there. So you want them to come into your list so you can actually start selling to them, and you actually own your list. I didn't start out doing virtual events though, because I started out in the fitness industry. I was a truck driver, and I was living in the truck from Sunday to Friday, and I wanted something else. And I worked as a personal trainer in a local gym in the weekends. So I launched a fitness business online, and that was end of 2016 and in the beginning of 17. And I failed because I built an entire system that was so complex that it worked as a wall between me and my audience. And it was expensive. I'm just going to say it. I bought an entire app system and I was running ads, and I was so fresh on the market. So I didn't understand this with nurturing or the positioning yourself in a profitable market. Dream client, I didn't even know there was a name called dream client. Niching down, never heard of it. Okay. So that was costing me a lot of money, because you can imagine what we're going to talk about today is generating lead organically. I did it with paid traffic, and I didn't know anything about the who was I'm going to invite. So it was so expensive. And I came across a virtual event, and that is how I understood that all the things that I had created really worked as a wall between me and my audience. And this was before the online space was so crowded, and now it's just exploded, right? And that is how I actually started or grow my fitness business. And I removed the app and everything else. And I realized that a virtual event is the absolute best freebie, because it does not only generate me leads, it's a two-way communication. Most freebies out there that you use to generate leads, first of all, they are not bridging into the offer. So you create a freebie that attracts a lot of people, but there is no next step. So nothing happens. So you just collect leads, and then you try to kind of engage them, and they kind of grow cold. But a virtual event is different, because you have a two-way communication, and you learn so much, because you can ask questions in real time, and you can ask in the chat in real time, and you can collect a lot of information both before, during, and after the event that normal kind of freebies that you use as a download are not going to do. And most freebies that are not virtual event, that is more maybe a PDF or things like that, they require that you have a strong back end that follow ups with these leads and connect with these leads, which a virtual event is going to do automatically. That is why I love them for using lead generation. But today we're going to focus on the leads in itself and the quality of those leads. And any questions in the chat. And as I said, I think that we absolutely have time at the end if there is anyone that wants to ask questions live. But as you go just into the chat, this is more like a conversation as well, as it is a masterclass or a training or whatever you want to call it. And at the end, I'm going to share about another event that I have coming up next week that I would like to invite you to. That is all about leads and how to grow a list. But one thing that I first want to talk about is why most actually lead generation advice, I would say, and strategies or things that people actually teach attract browsers instead of buyers. Because there is a difference of attracting people that say, oh, this was so good, this was amazing, but they don't take any type of action. And most lead generation advice focus a lot on visibility. I think that is, I talk a lot about visibility as well, but they talk about visibility. They talk about posting more. They talk about be consistent. I think you have heard that. Do I believe that consistency and frequency wins the day? Absolutely, right? But you can't rely on consistency alone, because if you are consistent in pushing out content into the void, doesn't matter how consistent you are, nobody's going to see it, right? So consistency is part of it, but they also teach a lot of giving a lot of value. They talk a lot about growing an audience, and all of this matters absolutely in the combination of it. But that is not, visibility alone does not qualify people. It doesn't qualify the audience. It doesn't qualify the person that raises their hand and say yes to you. Because lead generation is actually only about people saying yes. That is what it's all about. You go out and you say, hey, do you struggle with losing weight? I have created a guide with 5 different ways to lose 10 kilos before the summer. Would you like it? Yes. Well, that is all that is about it, right? And the thing is that when we create content that becomes too broad, and when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So it becomes very broad, or it becomes very motivational. I love motivational content, but all content is not created equally. That is the thing here. Or it's designed to help anyone or everyone that is out there. You attract curious people. And people that are curious, that are aware, maybe they have a problem, but they have not entered the phase of saying they want to do something about the problem or they want to pay to get the problem fixed. They're just starting to get aware. They love to learn, right? And they love to consume. And they love saving posts, all right? And they love to download and collecting freebies. A lot, a lot of us, I'm just going to say, is guilty of that, right? Collecting freebies. I have collected thousands of freebies, I think, over the years, and we are good at that. We are good at that. But these people not necessarily are ready to invest. And that is a huge difference when it comes to attracting qualified leads that you then want to turn into paying clients. Because the thing is, you can grow an entire list, thousands and thousands of people, but make no money. And that is because it's not the right people. And I could create a freebie that said, I don't know, fill your event with AI. I don't know if that is possible, but let's say everything with AI collects a lot of leads. But I don't have a step, right? So they're not ready to invest. And if your messaging is not clear about who it's for and who it's not for, that is even more important, you are going to build an audience full of browsers. Because your content is not only there to attract the right kind of people, it's also there to repel the wrong ones. And when you collect browsers, this is when you hear this, I'm going to think about it, this sounds amazing. And when they say this was the best thing that they have ever had, they then even ghost you. Right? That is usually what happens. And you can see it when you do a lot of virtual events because you have a very strong two-way communication. So you immediately are going to get that. Or they download your freebie and they are on your list and they stop opening your email. They never take any type of action. And that is not a closing problem. That is not a sales problem in the back end. And that is a front end qualification problem. You cannot convert the wrong people into any type of offer. I mean, you can have the best event in the world, the best offer in the world. You can be the best in what you do, but you can't sell to people that are not aware or not ready to purchase or move to the next step. Okay. So if we look at in the front end, what you want to think about when it comes, I'm going to talk more about content at the end of this session. But what I want you to think about when it comes to your audience, and you who were in my last training, the 2-day, you also got focus pieces. So I sent out 4 shorter trainings where I talked about this. Because it's a difference between a person that is aware, that might think, okay, maybe I need to lose weight, or maybe I need to learn how to do this or something else. They have started to get aware, right? But they're not ready to purchase. And when you attract people into something where you want to sell in the back end, those people are not ready. So you start attracting people that are not ready. So you want to think one more step. What happens right before someone purchases? What is happening with these people? How are they thinking? And that is the moment, and I call them activation points. That is when you look at your dream client and you ask yourself, how does this person think? And what do they do? And what do they say right before they say, I am done and I am going to get this problem fixed? Because then they have entered what I kind of call a readiness. They are aware, but they also understand that they can't keep doing the same thing anymore. They need something. And then all of a sudden they are ready. So I could go out and I could speak about, for an example, talk about, do you need more clients? I'm hosting a training on Sunday, how to get more clients. I would attract a lot of people that want to get clients. And I would say 90% of those are not ready. They want clients, but they are not like, I need clients now. I need to learn this strategy, right? Because it's too broad. and it doesn't kind of dig into an activation point. But I could go out to say more that, are you posting and posting and posting every single day? And you post in the void, or you get people showing up and they say, oh, thank you so much, this was amazing, and then they disappear. So I start kind of digging into, where does my people say I am done? And I do virtual events, so it's going to be somewhere that they have hosted virtual events and they have failed. That is a strong emotional activation point, right? Have you run a virtual event and the room was full of amazing people and everybody said, I love this, this was the best training, and then they ghost you? And that hits. And that is somewhere right before someone is going to say, okay, yeah, and I'm done with that. So I'm going to take the next step. And that is a completely thing compared to a person that is just aware. And this is usually a little more deeper, like emotional thing. And where I'm going to upload this recording on YouTube. Below this video, I'm going to add the link to the page where I have these these 4 pieces of content that I had in my workshop, where I talk more about this. I have some example because we don't have so much time today. In those small training, they're just like 7 to 10 minutes, so it's not a lot. I have some examples, and it's going to help you understand decision-making moments where people are aware and they have said, I can't do it this anymore. So they are in the activation point, and then they are going to make a decision. And that is where you want to talk to people, not over here. You want to talk when you do lead generation. This is not content. We're going to come back to different types of content. Not all content is created equally. I'm talking about when you promote something you want to generate leads for. Masterclass, freebie, whatever, where the freebie is meant to lead into an offer. And if they download the freebie and they are not ready to take the next step, doesn't matter how good that offer is. And you collect people that are aware, but they're not going to purchase. So I hope that makes sense. And down below, there is a link. The 4 videos is on kind of a small replay page, you can call. No opt-in, so you can just click and watch them, okay? And that leads us to the next thing. So when you have kind of looked into your dream client and ask yourself, where are they right before they purchase? Where can I activate my audience so they start paying attention? And I kind of not dig into their problems. That's not what I'm saying. That sounds a little bit, doesn't sound so good. But you kind of make them aware and you talk directly to them in their language in the moment where they feel I am done, okay? Another thing here then comes up, and that is we don't post. Why? Because we say that it's either too hard, I don't know where to find leads, I don't know how to find leads, I don't know where I'm going to post, I don't know how I'm going to do it, and I don't want to feel spammy, slimy, sleazy, pushy, salesy, talk about my freebie all day. I don't want people to get annoyed, okay? And here is the thing, that when people say that, I don't know where to find my people, they're here. You have literally millions of people inside here, and it costs you absolutely nothing to engage with your target market. 0 money. It takes time, but it doesn't cost you anything. They are here on social media, everywhere, millions of people. And still we struggle. Still we say, oh, this is so hard, I don't know, right? And that is because mindset around lead generation. And this is not fluff. Because we don't understand what lead generation actually is, because we see lead generation as something strategic, as something that we are going to ask people for the email address. And it's a very strategic kind of thing, right? Is it strategy? Absolutely. But I'm just here to say that there is no strategy in the world that is going to help you if your mindset and belief system is not aligned with the millions of dollars that you want to make. Because you need to care so much about solving this problem on the market that you do not stand in your own way by not sharing about what you are doing. Because then you make it all about you and not about them, right? So you need to think about what is actually lead generation. So it doesn't matter what you generate leads for. It could be a virtual event like we do. It can be a freebie. It can be a book. It can be anything where you generate leads. It doesn't matter. Inside of that, you have the solution to people's problems, right? And as a service provider, your job is to hand out solutions to people's problems, right? That is your job as a service provider. And the thing is that when you do lead generation, you are actually a huge gift to your market, because you go to the market and you say to them, hey, I have a space and place with a solution. Would you like to access it? And that is a gift to your market. That is of being of service to your market. But we don't see lead generation that way, do we? So when everybody talk about lead generation, strategy, get people's email addresses, strategy, get people's email addresses. But if we really think about it, we're actually serving our audience, our market. And when you do that mindset shift and you understand that I am not going to stand in my own way, I'm going to share about my freebie. I'm going to talk about it every single day, every single day for 2 weeks, nothing else. I'm going to share this to everyone because there are people out there struggling with exactly what I'm solving inside of my freebie. Then you're going to move away and not make it about you, how you feel when you do this, because it's absolutely not about you. And you should be loud and you should be proud about the way that you help people. And the thing is also that you need to share it more than once. I'm just gonna say, I don't know how many times. I think it was like a year ago they talked about that someone needs to see things 27 times or something before they take action. And if you just share about your masterclass 2 times, well, it's not wonder that you don't generate any leads, how good the messaging is, right? So when you have fixed the messaging, you also need to fix your mindset around what it is that you are doing and say, I'm not going to stand in my own way and I'm going to share this and I'm going to share it more than once. Right? So when we do lead generation for virtual events, for an example, and you can use this for any freebie, we do a promotion period. So we have maybe a week, 2 weeks where we go in and invite people to the masterclass. It doesn't matter if you have a freebie. You can still build out a small little cycle like this. So you go all in promoting a specific freebie for a specific amount of time, because then you can go more all into that and push more energy into that and post every single day about your freebie everywhere across social media, in your email list. You can go live and you can share about your freebie. You can do it everywhere. And then you have a time where you move into brand building content, for an example, and you stop promoting that freebie for some time. You can do that even if it's not a live virtual event, right? So and the thing is also, when it comes to sharing more about what you're doing, is that if I would, for an example, run a virtual event and I decided that I'm not going to share it because I don't want to feel spammy or slimy and I don't want to post too much, so I'm just going to share it a couple of times, I'm robbing people from the solution. Not everybody is going to purchase your offer. That's not the case, right? But you're still adding value inside of your freebie. You give them a solution. This is what you need to do. You are aware. This is why things haven't worked, and this is what you need to do instead. You create awareness. You transfer beliefs on the audience, right? And if you don't share it, you're not being of service, and that is your job. That is why the mindset is very important when it comes to lead generation. And not a lot of people talk about it. We talk about it when it comes to sales, that is more common, but not so much when we promote stuff that is free, because the freebie is a free stuff. We mostly do lead generation for free things, right? So if we kind of recap that, you have the activation points, and that is when someone really recognizes themselves in what you're saying, and they are very close to making a decision. That is the first thing. Then you need to go out, don't stand in your own way, and actually promote your stuff more than once. Okay, I hope we agree on that. So this requires messaging. It requires that you understand the problem, you understand the outcome, and you have clear invitations. Okay, and that moves us a little bit into the next step. And things you can actually think about when it comes to activation points. Ask yourself, what is the problem, of course, they are struggling with? But not only that, fears. So they have problems, struggles, frustration, fears. So a lot of emotions that comes up right before people purchase, because all people buy with emotion and then they back that decision up with the logic, right? That is what's happening. So we all buy with emotion, some more or some less. But even if you buy with emotion, you back that later up with logic. Logic is rarely the decision maker, it's the emotion. So you want to kind of look into how do they feel? What do they feel inside here right before they make a purchase? And together with that, it's very important that you have then something that leads into the offer. Because as I said, you can have the best quality in the world. Let's say we have nailed our messaging. We are not standing in our own way. So we are out promoting our freebie. We share it. We have it everywhere. And people start to joining like crazy and they click and you grow your list. And then something happens. And it's because you have just created a freebie without the end result in mind. And what I mean with that is that you can create 10 freebies that stops right after the freebie. So when you create a freebie, no matter what it is, it can be a virtual event like we do, but it can also be a digital thing or whatever. It can be anything, a video. You need to create it with the end result in mind. What are you planning to sell after? Because the freebie should lead into that. When we do virtual event, which I believe is the absolute best way to build a pipeline of high qualified leads, we always build it as a bridge between the audience here and the offer. We don't just create an event out of void, whatever, you know. I could run events and grow my list if I started to talk about fill your event with AI. I don't even know if it's possible, but I guess it would be easy, right, to generate a lot of leads. But it makes no sense because I don't have anything to sell. It's not built as a bridge. So when you create your event, your freebie, whatever that is, you start with the end result in mind. What can I create that bridge these people into my offer? And that is where a lot of freebies goes wrong because we create something that is attractive, right? But it doesn't lead anywhere. So even if they are right before they're going to make a decision, everything falls flat because there is no logical next step. I hope that kind of makes sense. And that is why when we create virtual event, I talk a lot about decision-making content. You can bring that into any type of freebie that you create. Ask yourself, what type of belief do my audience need to have to make a decision? And add that inside. Don't just add value in your freebie. Think one more step. Think about that you're going to take these people and inside of that freebie, you are going to have them making a decision about something. So what do they need to know to make that decision for that offer? What do they need to believe to make that decision about themselves? They need to believe something about themselves to make that decision. So ask yourself that one more step with the end result in mind, because then all of a sudden you also have a freebie that moves people throughout the funnel. Otherwise, they're going to stop on the way and you're going to lose them because there is no way to kind of catch them again. When they are off, they are kind of off. You all know how hard it is to get a freebie or a list active again that has almost died out. It's hard. It's tough because they have all stopped opening your email, so there's nothing left. So when you create the freebie, always create it with the end result in mind. And I really, of course, love to run events as freebies. It's one of the best freebie that you can absolutely have. And I said it in the beginning because it's of the two-way communication. You are there in real time with your people. So think about decision-making content even for your freebie. What do they need to believe about themselves? What do they need to believe about you? What do they need to believe about your offer? And how can you transfer that belief on them, from you to them? And we do it with this type of content, but here it's easy for me to transfer belief that you can absolutely do this, but how can you do that in text? Think about that. Go back to your freebie, whatever you have, trainings, videos, whatever it is that you create, and ask yourself that question. And ask yourself, is this my offer the next logical step? Have I created a bridge between my people that are ready into that? And this is where a lot of these pipelines go wrong. And that is why I wanted to talk about this, because we see it a lot, especially when people are running events and they're going to generate leads for those events. And that is a structure, that is a kind of a system. So you need to have content that attracts the right person that is close to a decision. So you need to look into the activation points. But that and the freebie that you kind of promote needs to be you often needs to be a next logical step after that. And then you don't stand in your own way and you actually share about what you're doing. But what you don't need, and this I'm going to say, what you absolutely don't need is kind of 50 strategies. And the thing is that we jump on every strategy that we can possibly get our hands on, because we believe if I only have one more strategy, I'm going to generate more leads. But it's way better to master some strategies than to have a lot. I have 50 strategies inside the Launch Academy in a guide that people can use. But it's not, you don't need 50 strategies. We usually pick maybe 3 to 5 that we use, because if you learn to master a lead generation strategy, it's going to attract way more qualified leads and way more leads than 50 strategies would do if you do them a little like this all over the place and you really don't, and it's exhaust you. I'm just going to say it exhausts you, right? So you don't need 50 strategies. You don't need random posting. And this is where we're going to talk about that content is not created equally. And you don't need to hope that something sticks, because a pipeline of leads, what it requires is lead generation that connect the activation points, that actually activates your audience. So we're going to talk more about that content, because you need to understand the difference between lead generation content and brand building content. It's not created the same. You need to have a clear next step, right? And a space where trust is built. And if you have a digital freebie, you need to be able to build that trust in the freebie. Absolutely, I will send out the recording, okay? And you need to have an invitation into your offer. But if we then look at content when it comes to lead generation and brand building are two different things. And when you create lead generation, you want people to take action. That is what the content is all about. And that is why that content needs to be built on these activation points in your audience to actually make them take action. Because otherwise they are going to comment on your post. Your post might go viral, I don't know, and people are going to love it, and you're going to have a lot of fans, but no one takes any action. So the content that you promote a specific thing for, so let's say we run a virtual event around how to lose weight with keto. So we need to, fitness is always easy, or weight loss to refer to. So we run a masterclass that is about losing weight with keto. The content needs to be built so people take action to that, not to build my brand or build my authority or kind of create motivation or things like that. It needs to be built for people to take action on specifically that. I could create content about everything that we do. Lead generation, marketing. I could talk about content inside of a virtual event. I could talk about sales. I could talk about messaging. I could talk about a lot of things. But if I host a masterclass about this, lead generation, all the content that I create, that I use to promote that, is about lead generation. the activation points around lead generation, the struggles around lead generation, the wins if you have lead generation done the right way. I wouldn't go out and post about this is how you create content inside of a virtual event. And then I said, oh, so everybody said that was so valuable. And in the comments, if you want to learn how to generate leads, come and join. It makes no sense, right? I would save that content for when I want to promote that, or between when I want to build my brand and my authority and people know that I know what I'm talking about. So when you create lead generation content, you look at what is it that I'm leading them towards. And the content in itself needs to be written so people take action. So you need to look into these activation things. What do people actually feel before they take action? Not how they feel saying, oh, this was amazing. When they say, I am done, right? I'm done doing this. I don't want to do this anymore. So I could do a post saying, do you post every single day and still not generating any leads? Oh yeah, people are going to say. That is because XYZ. And I'm going to share about that in my masterclass. And that makes the right people pay attention that struggle exactly with that. And they're very close to say, I am done. And then I invite them. I hope that makes sense. Because I could go out and do an information-based post, share your top 3 things when it comes to whatever. But there is no activation inside of that post. It's just value. And that is why a lot of people post and post and post and they get no leads. Because it's not written for people to take action. So I usually say there's a difference between brand building content and lead generation content. One is there to build your authority, to build your brand, to show people that you know your stuff, motivate your audience and things like that. The other content is purely there to activate the audience to take some kind of action, the right people. That content will also repel a lot of the wrong people that are not ready, that don't feel this emotional tension that you are describing in the post. And that is a good thing. They should move the other way. They should just go the other way. Okay. And that is why you end up, when you create a lot of brand building content and this amazing, and then you talk about something and you add the link and a lot of people see, oh, they're going to be curious and they're going to sign up. That is how you end up with a lot of leads that take no action. And that is why it's created different. I hope that makes sense. And as I said, for the people that have joined now at the end, below this video, I'm going to upload the recording on YouTube. In the text below, I'm going to add the link to the 4 trainings that I sent out in my workshop. That's just 7 minutes, 10 minutes per session, where I talk a lot about this, how you can find out your activation points in your audience, because it's massively going to change the quality of the leads that you actually generate, even if it's not a virtual event, okay? Because not everyone that is here are going to run any type of virtual events. So if we kind of recap, so we talked about the messaging, that it needs to be for the right people, not broad people, not everybody, because trying to speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. So you want to understand them, where they are right before they make a decision, because the other content, you can speak about that, but not when you're inviting them to something. Speak about that between the invitation. In a motivational post, you can speak about to the people that are way before they are actually sticking the ground and saying, I had enough. You can speak to the people that are aware in that content, but not the lead generation content. You want to repel those people that are not ready. So make sure that you try to nail that. The other thing, do not stand in your own way. Whatever you invite them to, it's a gift. Remember that. What you do is a gift to the market. Every service provider is a gift to the market because you have the solution to people's problems. You're inviting them to a space and a place of solutions. Don't ever forget that. Don't make it about you. Okay. And the people that might get upset that say, oh, do you need to post about your business all the time? Do you need to do that? I don't want to see it, but they are not your people, so their opinion doesn't matter. The people that you are not meant to be for, their opinion does not matter. Don't ever pay attention to those people because they're not your people. And you're here to serve the people that are your people. Okay. So don't stand in your own way. Whatever you invite them to, make sure that you create that with the end result in mind. So you create it as a bridge between the people here and the offer that you're going to have as the next step. Don't just build freebies for the sake of freebies. It makes no sense. You're going to create tens of freebies and be exhausted. Create a really good freebie that leads people from here into a specific offer, because that is where the true transformation happens. It's inside your paid offers. So think about the end result when you create that freebie. Go into the freebie and see, what does these people that go through my freebie need to believe in order to take the next step? Both about your offer, both about you, but also what do they need to believe about themselves? And how can I transfer that inside of that content? And then the last thing that we kind of talked about is that you don't need 50 strategies to do this. You actually need less. I say focus on maybe 3-4 strategies. Post online, do email marketing, for an example. Of weekly live is a great way to promote something. Use Facebook, LinkedIn events to promote your freebie. Works really great. So you don't need all of those freebies. So I hope this was valuable and maybe rethink the way why your pipeline falls somewhere along the way. And it's usually because of one of these things. That is when it falls. And it doesn't happen, it doesn't fix itself with visibility. I know a lot of people talk about visibility. Is it important? Yes. But it doesn't fix a broken pipeline of leads. You can be in front of millions of people, but if they don't recognize themselves in what you are saying, they're not going to take the next step. Nothing is going to happen. They're just going to sit there and say, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. And the last thing that you want to understand is the difference between lead generation content and what I call brand building content. And that you should post that. But when you are inviting someone to take action, that post needs to be written to the person that is close to a decision. Otherwise, it's going to fall flat. And it's way better to have less leads and higher quality of those leads than fill your list with people that are never going to purchase anyway. Those can be in your audience, fine. Those can share in your audience and be your biggest fans. That doesn't matter. But they're not supposed to end up on your list. You can grow huge audiences and make no money. And we don't want that. And do I believe that the best freebie is a virtual event? Absolutely. Not only that it doesn't require a lot of work compared, you don't need to create a lot of digital things and all that. You don't need these huge funnels because you're inviting them to something like this. And then you have the offer at the end. You can send out the recording or not send out any recording. You could actually record this and use the recording as an evergreen webinar, for an example. It's a great freebie, an evergreen webinar to sell your offers. So there's a lot of ways to use this, but I love the live elements because that also gives you a two-way communication, and that helps you understand when someone is right before making a decision. That helps you understand how the content lands in real time. Together with the audience, you can ask questions, you can do polls, you can do a lot of things to activate and have this two-way communication with the audience that not a lot of other freebies can do. And that is why I love them so much. And as you see, this is not so much strategy. That is why all this strategy that people teach falls so flat, because you can have all the strategies in the world, but if people don't recognize themselves, they're not going to join. If there is no call to action or content that drives action, nobody's going to join. And if the freebie doesn't make sense to the offer, nobody's going to purchase, right? So it doesn't matter. You can have all the strategies in the world. It's not going to help you. You can have all the visibility in the world. It's not going to help you. And if this is something that you struggle with, so I said I'm hosting an event next week. It's a live event that is a little more massive. So we're going to run Day one, I would say maybe 3 hours, and it's all recorded. So you don't, I'm going to show you the page. So it's all recorded. Day two, we host Q&A. So we go through some things in day one that we are going to work on. We host a Q&A and implementation step on day two live. And then we go into day three, which is going to be about, I would say, 3 hours maybe of live. And then we have a fourth day with also Q&A. And it's all about this. I'm going to share the page so you understand how it actually looks like and how you can join inside of this. And it's all live, as I said, but I'm going to make sure that we record everything, and I'm going to record it so we cut it up. So you don't need to, if you watch the recording, it's very hard to watch a 3 hour long recording. That I do know. So we are not going to do that. So we're going to cut it up, but it's a 4-day event. So I run it next week. And I have a community to it as well. So we get every questions for solved. And it's to help you build out this pipeline all the way. And the last step, of course, we are going to look into what are we going to generate leads for. And I love live events, of course. I'm going to talk a lot about that, but there's a lot of things that you can do. So we run 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, and I'm going to show you. And the investment to join is 345. You have lifetime access to the recordings. And this is the structure. So I thought it was easier to show you like this. So what we're going to do day one is that we are going to have 2 live sessions. And I have set 11 a.m. to 1. This is very flexible because it might be 2 hours, 3 hours. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit flexible here because it's a live experience. So it's not like recordings or structured like masterclass style. It's live, 2-way communication. We're going to talk a lot and things like that. So we're going to dig deep into content because that is important to understand. How can I create content that drives action, right? So that is what we're going to do the first, I would say 1.5 hour-ish. And then we're going to move into more content creation and how to write posts. I have created some templates that we can use. And we have 5, or I think it's 6 different types of content to activate people that we're going to talk about. And you get all those templates. Everything here you get that we do inside of these, including the recordings. And then we work on that, and you're going to work on your activation points, and you're going to go out and look at your audience. And we're going to write our decision-making moments, as I call them, when people right before make a decision. And then we have an implementation. So day 2, we're going to go into everything that we did day 1 and make sure that everything questions is answered and everything that. And as you see, it's 11 a.m. Eastern, so that is 5 p.m. Central European time. Then we go in day 3, and then we move into a little bit of mindset and talking about how to attracting qualified leads. So we're going to talk a lot about mindset. We're also going to talk a lot about structure. We're going to talk a lot about strategies, how you're going to do this. What can you do? How do you promote on LinkedIn? How do you promote on Facebook? How can you utilize Facebook? Because Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, the mindset of people on these platforms, even if it's the same person, they are in different mindset when they are visiting the platform. Okay. So that we're going to look into a lot, all those kind of thing. And then we're going to look into the lead magnet or freebie, whatever you want to call it, the full system. How are you now going to build something that takes these people that we have now decided and we have find the activation points? How can we bridge that? And what are you going to bridge them with? And there's a lot of freebie designs or lead magnet that you can build. And I am, of course, going to share about how we do them with virtual events. We're going to talk a lot about that. You don't need to create virtual events huge. You can do this style, like you have a Zoom or just a Zoom registration, and it doesn't need to be so big. And you can create evergreen things. You can have funnels, and there's a lot of things to do. So we're going to look into that and what you could do and what you could build. And we have a little community as well, so we don't just leave you here. Then on day 4, we are going to have a Q&A again, so we have no questions. The entire week after, so from the, what is this, the 13th, the entire week after, the community stays open and I'm there to answer questions. So we don't kind of close it down, bye-bye. We actually have the community, because this, you might need some support when you are going to create that, and you're going to create it afterwards. So I'm going to be there for the entire week after to make sure that you get help to actually do this. Okay, so I'm not going to leave you, and we are going to record everything, and I'm going to share the link. So if anyone here that wants to join, if you watch the recording, how do I stop share here? If you watch the recording, I'm going to add the link below inside of the YouTube description, or whatever you call it, below. And there is the link. We start the 11th, so I'm just need to check my calendar, and that is no, 10th, Tuesday. So of course you will need to join before Tuesday, otherwise you miss the first sessions. If you can't join live, I will create a course portal. So I'm not hosting the replays on YouTube or on Facebook or anything. You get access to a course portal where I'm going to add all the replays, and if we might run a bonus sessions if that is needed, because I want you to leave that virtual event as it is, 4-day event, with actually having a freebie that bridge into your offer, a mindset where you are not going to stand in your own way, and understanding how to write lead generation content and the templates of those you can actually use, and understanding where your audience are right before they make a decision. And it's not going to only help you generating leads, it's going to help you massively when making sales, because you're now going to understand how you need to speak to your audience so they actually make a decision when you are selling on a call, or you're selling in a live event or something. So even if you built out an entire pipeline lead generation, it's also going to help you do a lot of other things inside of your business. So is there anyone here that have any questions you would like to add? I could actually see if we can unmute. How do we change this? Yeah, so unmute. So if there's anyone that wants to ask a question, just shoot. And I'm recording, but I'm recording, what do you say? If you don't want to be on camera, because when you start speaking, I think it's going to end up in, you are going to be on camera. But if it's anyone that have any questions, add them in the chat. I'm here to answer them, and I can spend some minutes if you have any type of questions. And of course, I'm going to host a community for that event in a Facebook group, so that and that stays open. So after this entire week, where we really focus to get shit done, otherwise we don't get anything done. So we're going to focus on that in that week. The community stays open. So if you want to stay, or if you have questions that you want to get answered, I'm not closing and throw anyone out. That is not how we're going to do it. Okay. And it's going to be high value. It's about maybe 10 hours of pure value content and implementation. So it's not a masterclass, it's a live program. You can almost think about it as a live program. And I created templates for hooks, templates for posts, and also we're going to talk a lot about activation and decision making, and what people think before what they do, and why people buy and things like that, because it's important. Don't create freebies without having an idea or an understanding where are you going to take these people, because then you just end up with huge audience and a list and you make no money. And if you make no money, you help no people. And if you don't help people, you make no money. And when we help people, we turn the world into a better place, because you should always remember, and I'm going to end with this, when you help one person, so if I help one of you to get more clients, for example, you become a better person and you're going to become happier. And when people become happier, they affect other people around them in a positive way, right? Because if I'm more happy, if I get clients and I make money and I can live my life how I want to be it, and I get to help people and create an impact, I'm more happy. So when I go out among other people, I affect them in a positive way. So in the domino effect of that, because those people, I affect them in a positive way, so those people become more happy. So when they interact with other people, they affect them in a positive way. So by helping one person, you actually helping creating the world into a better place. Don't ever forget that. It's not only about the person that is in front of you, it's the domino effect of all the work that you are doing. That is what's happening when you sell. And that is why sales is something that is amazing and beautiful. It's the best thing you can ever do because you're going to create an impact on the world and you're going to help so many people. And the byproduct of that is money. So the more money you make, the more people you help, and the more people you help, the more money you make. And you also turn the world into a better place. And I love that idea. So thank you so much. And I'm going to, as I said, below this recording, I'm going to send out the recording now. I'm going to, as soon as Zoom has whatever it does with it, I'm going to upload it. I'm going to send it out. Below this video, you have two links. One link is for the event that I host next week. So come and join us. It's just 345 lifetime access. The second thing is the link to the 4 small, I call it small videos, it's 7 to 9 minutes, where I talk a lot about this activation points and things like that. So those are going to help you massively when it comes to creating content and lead generation and also sales in a lot of way. I call them focus pieces. So I'm going to add them. Yes, I'm going to add them below the video. Okay, so there's 2 links. So thank you so much for being here with me today. It was amazing. I love to run these small pop-up things. And I decided to do this because there was a lot of people inside of my virtual event that wanted to learn more about lead generation and struggle with lead generation. So that is why I threw this together a little bit quickly. So thank you so much for being here with me today. And I hope that you come and join me inside of the event next week. And I will see you around. So take care, everyone. Bye.